Hi, I'm host Eric. Host of Talking with Famous People. I have a thought about SI that I wanted to share, which is that I have in my head an ongoing running log that's constantly undergoing revision and updating about basically, not constantly, but it's one of these sort of reoccurring subjects that I cycle through periodically. And it's a steady presence in my life from way back straight through. It's one of the few things that does persist really steadily through my whole life is this habit, which is I've seen my life in terms of periods, chapters that are defined primarily by my growth arc through some certain area of ability, like skill set, or philosophical, abstract kind of progress. Like, oh, that was in the period when I was really into thinking about Satanism. There was a period of time when I was really into thinking about Satanism. Of course, my interpretation of Satanism was basically it was a fundamental liberty-driven interpretation of Satanism. They just chose to assume that everyone was going to behave nicely and just not have to address rights violations. That, well, if everyone, my explanation was at the time, well, you see, if everybody really does as they will, which is to say, as their true will is, in the way that the Satanists say, well, then everything will be hunky dory. Well, that obviously doesn't do anything, because you're just saying if everyone were super cool and nobody ever wanted to do anything uncool, then we wouldn't need any rules, right? So let's not have any rules. Okay, but see, that's the that's the consequent of the conditional. That's not the antecedent. But I was young. I was younger than I am now. I wasn't actually that young when I went through my little Satanist phase, but it was before I was coaching debate. It wasn't like I was an advocate for it. I liked the concept of a will-driven metaphysics. I still like the concept of will-driven metaphysics. And I liked the concept of promoting a metaphysics that had this weird magical component to it, but not ever talking about the magical component to it. Like referring to my just straight up philosophical explanations of why we should allow the will to be our criterion for adjudicating matters. I just called that Satanism. I never talked about Satan or anything. Why would you want to talk about Satan? But I mean, you'd want to talk about Satan if you had something interesting to say about that sort of archetype expression of human consciousness, or whatever that sort of thing is. Some sort of secular explanation of it. I like getting religious. I like trying to be religious. But by and large, my external manifestations, and I don't really have any internal manifestations, unless I'm really struggling a lot nowadays. I'm pretty full blast secular, but when I do express, I think that to express a promotion of an absolutist moral code is not so different from deism, except it just doesn't personify the whole thing into a dude and give him a name and say, and he was very tall and had wavy hair and he was a magical guy. We don't want to do too much of that stuff, for sure, but we don't want it to be derisive towards religion either. I certainly don't, and I know that I am inadvertently a lot of times. Like I used to say, to my ex-wife, no, I'm totally for magical thinking. I'm embracing it myself. I believe in its efficacy as a methodology in certain circumstances. I'm down with the magical thinking, provided it's nested within a set of adequately robust frameworks. And she'd be insulted by that, because she said the expression magical thinking, people don't get how you mean it, Eric. When you say that, you think you're teasing them or something. I'm not teasing them. I'm saying, hey, look, guys, I found a way to agree with your magical thinking. I like magical thinking now, too. I'm on your side. But here's the problem. They don't think of it as magical thinking, see? They think of it as somehow, well, they may, I think they're accustomed to having to defend it against that attack. They don't understand that that's not inherently an attack, and that by treating it as such, you're conceding the ground to your opponent, I mean, there's no reason to do that. So, I would, if somebody said to me, oh, I share your magical thinking, if they were doing it as a sort of passive-aggressive attack on me, and they were going to try to, I don't know, express contempt in that fashion or something, I mean, I would act no differently than if they didn't have that intent. I'd just say, oh, well, what is your magical thinking? I'm curious to hear more about it. I want to know if it aligns with my own. They're like, well, did you just admit you do magical thinking? Well, then you just start the conversation by saying that you now like magical thinking too? I mean, you obviously must if you think I would have interpreted those words to mean something else. Then what's this guy do? Or what does that guy do? Nothing to do. So the point is, magical thinking. This video has no point at all, except me just rambling on and on. I'm giddy, frankly. I'm giddy. I just gotta talk about it because I'm so fucking giddy about it. By the time I was done having this conversation with homie from Kentucky, there were 6 fucking comments on my YouTube channel, each from a different person, in like 2 hours. I was just like, I literally teared up. I teared up. I had no choice. It was stunning. That is so many comments in one evening. I mean, I don't know what to say about it. I am just absolutely giddy. Thank you for watching Talking with Famous People.